Hi, so I'm going to be talking about a common misunderstanding that people have about sin in the Bible. So there's this thing that a lot of Christians say, and unfortunately, I think the motive for it is kind of obvious in the claim itself. And they say that all sin is equally bad. Um, yeah, so I kind of get the EBGBs if someone says that, because I'm like, what are you doing? Where you're like considering like stealing like an apple is the same as like anyway. But essentially what I'm gonna talk about is three references in the book of Matthew that debunk that idea that all sin is the same. The only way sin is the same is that it's all sin. So in that way it's the same. But in Matthew 19, and here's an example, it says that basically the Lord hired people to basically work until the end of the day. And some people he hired in the beginning of the day, some people he hired at lunchtime, and some people he hired like an hour before work was over. And he told all of them, I'm going to pay all of you 1 denarius, 1 Roman coin. And at the end of the day, they all got 1 coin. And the guy who worked for the longest time was upset because the guy who worked for an hour got paid the same as him. But the Lord said, you weren't working anyway, so who are you to contest your wage? Because he went out and he found these people to work for him who weren't doing anything. And then in Matthew 25, I believe, is the parable of the talents, right? And so this is the one most people are familiar with, right? So it's like one guy gets 5, another gets 2, one guy gets 1. And then the guy with 5 multiplies it, the guy with 2 multiplies it, and the guy with 1 buries it, and he's cast away, reprobate, examined and found unworthy. People try to ignore that because that's kind of like losing your salvation, kind of, right? A little scary for some of you people who you need eternal security in your doctrine because you are not secure in your eternity, right? And so, but this is basically saying that like there's different rewards for people based on what they do. And then in Matthew 23, which is like one of my favorite sections in Matthew, but there's a lot of great ones, Jesus says, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, for you shall receive the greater damnation. So not only is there different levels of reward in heaven, there's, different levels of punishment in hell. And so not all sin is the same. All right. So I just wanted to debunk that and to maybe kind of elucidate that for some people. All right. God bless. Have a good day.